Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. From now through May 6th, if you use that promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to win a War of the Spark booster box. See the description below for details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch, where today we're going to check in on all aspects of the secondary market. You'll notice as we go throughout the video today, there is a lot of influence from the War of the Spark set reveal, which occurred over the last 3 weeks. No surprise there. There's also a lot of other factors, including Modern Horizon speculation. Without any further ado, though, let's get into it. We're going to begin with the top 5 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. Mostly you're going to see here some high-ticket cards that have performed well in the past that people aren't going to shell out big bucks for right before the new standard season, so let's see what's going on. Number 5 is Sulphur Falls from Dominaria. This one goes down to $1.03 to $6.10. Also, in some cases, you're going to notice cards from the sets that are rotating out this fall are getting a little soft too, as people are trying to be a little more forward-thinking and trying to pick up cards that might last a little longer in the format. Number 4 is Vivian Reed, down $1.22 to $18.77. Great card last season in those Sultai mid-range or Golgari mid-range decks. She does continue to lose value, though. Number 3 is Hydroid Crisis, down $1.62 to $22. Now, this is the darling of the previous meta. Towards the end of the meta, it didn't see as much play as it was seeing at the beginning, of course, as everything started to streamline a little bit. But this card could be a part of some big decks in the future, no doubt. It is important to note that this card does see a little modern play, too, in Temur Tooth and Nail sometimes. I've even seen mono-green mid-range decks splashing a little blue for this. Number 2 is Rekindling Phoenix, down $1.87 to $12.34. Now, this card is actually quite affordable for the first time in a long time. Basically, it's been a big part of the meta ever since it came out, but it is going to rotate out this fall. People are thinking about that. And also, in the Lightning Aggro Challenger deck that just came out, there's one copy of this in there. So, with all the extra copies entering the marketplace, this does soften up. And that is true of number 1 as well. Arclight Phoenix, down $2.07 to $19.99. Huge card in Standard, huge card in Modern, big card in Legacy, too. Sees tons of play. Why has it been going down? Because if you buy the Arcane Tempo Challenger deck right now, you can get a copy of it, so there are more copies out there. Okay, let's move on to the top 5 standard legal cards that have gained value this week. Couple honorary mentions first, though. This is Steam Vents from Guilds of Ravnica, going up 27 cents to $11.95. Just wanted to point this out because you're going to notice the Shocklands generally are hot. People are thinking about different brews for the next season, and if they don't happen to have the shocks they need, they are trying to pick them up. Here's the second one, Chromatic Lantern from Return to Ravnica, goes up 30 cents to $6.05. This is a card a lot of people are paying attention to right now because there's a chance that Mono Black Chromatic could make a comeback with the cards from the new set, or someone just might try to go like 5-color good stuff with Planeswalkers. So I do think there is going to be some room for this in the upcoming meta. Now, the recent version didn't move as much this week, but percentage-wise, this one moved a little. Number 5 is Watery Grave. Guilds of Ravnica up 32 cents to $11.99. Ravnica, City of Guilds, up 34 cents to $19.99. Again, another shock land. Number 4 is Jace Cunning Castaway, up 39 cents to $3.78. This card hasn't done a whole lot, really, since it came out. Why is it going up now? Well, because of its interaction with Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. A lot of people are thinking about trying to brew something in Standard, or at least in Commander, with those two cards. Also, in case you didn't see, Flipside Gaming does now have their War of the Spark singles up for pre-order, and you might be able to save some cash if you use the promo code. And as you know, I always appreciate that support for the channel. Number 3 is Crucible of Worlds from Magic 2019, up 55 cents to $16. We already know this card does see a little bit of Legacy, a little bit of Modern play, but recently with the reveals from War of the Spark, there are some new cards coming into the Standard format that do interact with lands. Things like Evolution Sage, Living Twister. You also have Nissa, who shakes the world. Nissa's Triumph. Mobilized District is a great land to interact with. So there are some people thinking about trying to put a deck together with some of these cards. Number 2, almost the same story here. Scape Shift from Magic 2019 goes up 63 cents to $9.49. These last two cards have been undervalued for a while. We know what Scape Shift does in Modern, and that alone should have probably raised the price a little bit earlier than this. But not only is this a great Modern card, but people are thinking about Standard possibilities going forward. Number 1 is another Shockland. This time it's Blood Crypt from Dissension, going up 85 cents to $23. Okay, let's move on to Modern with the top 5 Modern legal cards that have lost value this week. Again, you're going to see a lot of cards here that are retracting from recent spikes. Number 5 is Mycosynth from Darksteel, going down 248 to 2675. This card got red hot recently after the reveal of Karn the Great Creator from War of the Spark. Number 4 is Mox Opal from Scars of Mirrodin, down 249 to 9693. Huge card in the modern format, legacy format as well. It sees a little play. And it has been really hot recently, spiking, especially once we saw it was not going to be an Ultimate Masters. This card did ignite a little bit, starting to normalize a little bit now. Number 3 is Leveler. This goes down 251 to 501, another card that got hot recently due to a reveal from War of the Spark. This time the card was Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. Number 2, Doubling Season from Ravnica, goes down 364 to 6136. Of course, with the Planeswalkers and Proliferate coming in from the new set, Doubling Seasons got really hot. This one does retract a little bit this week. Number 1 is Blightsteel Colossus, down 599 to 7550. This is a perfect example of a card that got red hot recently for a while due to a lot of people trying to build those colorless commander decks. And now you're seeing the retraction because a lot of people see this price and say, wow, I have a copy, I have 2 copies in a binder somewhere I don't use. I'm going to go ahead and sell those. Stores might have inventory in their store but never bothered to put it online. They see the price go up and they go ahead and put it online. So more copies enter the marketplace and all of a sudden prices get a little more competitive. Although until someday we see a reprint, I don't expect this to go down to where it was prior to the spike. Okay, let's move on to the top 10 modern legal cards that have gained value this week. And yes, again, we're doing 10. The market has been off the wall, but you're going to notice it's not quite as extreme as it has been. Number 10 is the Locust God, going up 267 to 1343. Another undervalued card for a long time. This sees tons of commander play. This week, it finally starts to go up a little bit closer to maybe where you would expect it to be. Number 9 is Crimson Wisps. This goes up 291 to 375. This is a Shadowmoor common. I say it once a week, so might as well just throw it in here. During this time period in Magic, some of these sets had lower print runs than your normal modern era sets. This is one of those sets, and because of that, these cards can get a little bit spiky. Now, the reason this one is moving, though, is because of a card from War of the Spark, and that, of course, is Feather the Redeemed. So many people are building commander decks around this right now. Some people are brewing for other formats, of course, too, but really, I think Commander has been the bulk of it so far. Now, you're going to see a number of other cards during today's video that are moving because of Feather again, and if you remember last week's video, we had the same thing going on. Number 8 is Hive Mind, up 317 to 909. You'll find folks playing this in Amulet Titan, which is a very popular modern deck right now. Sometimes they're in the main, sometimes they're in the side, but they are seeing play. Number 7, Chalice of the Void, 3 copies. Mirrodin goes up 440 to 69.95. Modern Masters goes up 502 to 69.99. Masters 25 goes up 541 to 67.95. This card got red hot recently. Now, it felt a little undervalued. It's been soft ever since the Masters 25 reprinting. Well, those days are definitely over. You're going to find this in some big main decks like Colorless Eldrazi. This sees play in Modern, Legacy, Vintage. Many times it is a sideboard card, but regardless, it's in a lot of decks. Number 6 is Verdant Catacombs. Modern Masters 2017 goes up 488 to 74.88. Zendikar goes up 674 to 79.54. Fetch lands have been hot. We've been talking about them for many weeks. This one in particular because it's in Golgari Midrange, Jund, and a lot of other big modern decks right now. Number 5 is Balefire Liege. Plane Chase goes up 624 to 1425. Eventide goes up 695 to 1463. And of course, this is because of Feather builds. Number 4, Celestial Kirin. This goes up 826 to 896 this week. What is the deal with this card? Well, again, it has to do with a card that came out from War of the Spark, and that is Ugin's Conjurant. These two cards play very well together. Number 3 is Scrying Sheets, going up $9.55 to $22. Okay, now this all just seems random, doesn't it? So why is this one going up? There's a lot of speculation that we are going to go back to a snow-covered plane soon. Some people think it could be in the next block if we do go to a Viking plane. That's been rumored for a while. A couple different podcasts and articles came out this week discussing that possibility, and because of that, this card got hot. Number 2, Michiku Kanda Truth Seeker goes up $14.63 to $29.50. This card has been really hot recently. This could be a natural buyout due to the buzz that's been around this card recently as people have been seeing it go up in price slowly, or it could be an intentional buyout, but regardless, this is a great commander card in Pillow Fort decks. It is also an advisor for you persistent petitioner fans out there, but I don't know how easy that's going to fit into a build. Kind of the same story with this card, an amazing commander card. It's been hot recently. We see it on the show all the time, but it just feels like, again, whether this is a natural buyout or maybe a more planned buyout, it has a huge spike this week. All right, let's move on to our Vintage Spotlight. This is where we look at cards that are played in Legacy, Vintage, 93, 94, and also cards that are important to collectors. You're going to notice a lot of revised dual lands going up in value this week, so let's look at the ones that were moving the most. Scrubland goes up 283 to 189.49. Of course, this is on the reserve list. Here's another one, Bayou from Revised on the reserve list, goes up 429 to 298.99, and we'll have a couple more later on the list. Force of Will is here for now, though, from Alliances, up 831 to 117. The card has been really hot. There's still people that think it could show up in Modern Horizons. I've said it before, I'm not really sold on that, but if it does happen, more players will be interested in this card. However, more copies will also be entering the marketplace. Regardless, though, this card has been kind of undervalued for a while. It's awesome in Legacy, awesome in Vintage, good commander card too. So I do think it will keep at least some of its growth. Next, we go back to those revised dual lands with Savannah, of course, also on the reserve list, going up 957 to 183.25. And one more, Badlands from Revised on the reserve list, goes up 998 to 269.98. Unlimited cards continue to be hot. Here's a random one. Sunglasses of Urza goes up 1380 to 24.38. And one more card from Unlimited, a little less random. This is Mox Jet, of course, on the reserve list. Goes up 314.24 to $2,618.69. This one spiked last week, actually, because there were higher grade cards in the marketplace, and that's still the case this week. All right, let's move on to our Commander Spotlight. Again, it is packed, so I'm going to go kind of quick. I'm not going to give every little reason why a card could be moving. I'm just going to try to hit you with the highlights. Consecrated Sphinx from Meriden Besieged goes up $1 to 18.72. Very popular Commander card. Manadrain from Iconic Masters goes up $1.07 to 84.95. Good Commander card, good Vintage card. Tithe. This is on the reserve list, and it goes up $1.15 to 17.99. People are playing this currently in Feather decks. This does see Legacy play. Legacy could be moving this, but this is a good Commander card, and green Commander cards have been hot over the last few months because we got a lot of good new green cards entering the format. Yawgmoth's Will, up $1.16 to 74.99. This is on the reserve list. This might not be moving because of Commander in particular, but a lot of people do use this in their Commander builds. Phoenix, God of Deception, goes up $1.18 to 9.99. So many of these gods do feel undervalued. Some of them are starting to move a little bit now. This one currently sees play with Persistent Petitioners, and it does have people thinking about possibilities when they can get their hands on a Jace Wielder of Mysteries too. Eerie Interlude, another card from the Feather builds, goes up $1.21 to $3. Sakashima the Imposter goes up $1.21 to 36.99. This is another card that's just been hot for a while, great in the Yuriko decks. Sword of Feast and Famine. This does see Legacy play, but you see this a lot in Commander. Ever since Najila the Blade Blossom came out, this has been a hot card. Also, I've seen these in some Feather builds too. Modern Event deck copy is going up $1.05 to 38.97. Meriden Besieged goes up $1.27 to 39.23. Dak Faden up $1.29 to 19.49. This is the original one from Conspiracy. This is a good Vintage and Legacy card. A lot of Commander players will play this as well. But I got to take a moment to acknowledge Dak, gone too soon. Unfortunately, none of the Gideons made our list today, so we'll just have to remember Dak. Rasputin Dreamweaver goes up $1.30 to 129.99. I always like to point out when these Gold Legends Reserve List cards do go up in value, and this one's actually pretty good. Sensei's Divining Top going up $1.31 to 29.89. Great card for Vintage as well as Commander. This is the original one from Champions of Kamigawa. This also did get a mention this week on the Command Zone podcast. Darkest Hour from Urza Saga up $1.36 to 7.74. You'll find these sometimes in the Teysa Karlov builds. Rise of the Dark Realms goes up $1.40 to 24.91. Another card that has been very hot recently. Many times you'll find this in Teysa Karlov decks as well, and also in Judith the Scourge Diva builds. Replenish. This is on the reserve list. A lot of these cards from enchantment builds have gotten hot this week. This one goes up $1.41 to 53.98. Again, these cards have been pretty warm over the last few months. We've seen them show up on these lists from time to time. This week, there's a few of them. Gwendolyn de Corsai, another one of these gold reserve list cards from Legends, goes up $1.44 to 106.30. Enlightened Tutor, this cares about enchantments, also artifacts, and considering it's white, that's probably not an accident because that is one of the colors of Feather. Mirage goes up $1.44 to 23.75. Eternal Masters going up $1.56 to 26.56. Cyclonic Rift, this sees modern play, but it's a big Commander card, goes up $1.60 to 23.69. Ether Flux Reservoir going up $1.62 to 7.01. Another card a lot of folks are playing in Feather decks. Hellish Norn Grand Cenobite. This is the one for Modern Masters 2015. It goes up $1.71 to $23.61. Another big Commander card, but also sees Legacy play. Scroll Rack. This got a mention on the Command Zone this week. It's an awesome Commander card, going up $1.85 to $52.07. Vidalcan Orrery from Darksteel goes up $1.91 to $28. This also got a mention on the Command Zone podcast this week. Atraxa Praetor's Voice from Commander 2016. This can only be found in foil. It goes up $1.96 to $46.44. And of course, because of Proliferate, this card, as well as the other copy of it, have been hot recently, although they did stabilize over the last few weeks. This one jumps again. Hazan Tamar, another Gold Legends card on the reserve list, goes up $2 to $180.97. Privileged Position. This card softened up a little bit due to the reprinting in the Selesnya Guild kit, but now it's heating up again, going up $207 to $14.19. Land Tax, great Commander card. I've seen a lot of people throw these into Feather decks too. Battle Royale goes up $1.55 to $24.72. 4th edition goes up $2.13 to $24.98. Heat Shimmer. This one's from Lorwyn. It did have a lower print run, but I won't go through all that again. Up $2.23 to $5.25. And of course, this is for Feather builds. Idyllic Tutor, another card that cares about enchantments, going up $2.36 to $30.31. Braid of Fire, showing up in Feather builds, going up $2.44 to $22.49. Seize the Day from Ultimate Masters goes up $2.60 to $4.95. I bet you can't guess why. Oh no, you're right, it's Feather. Another card that can only be found in foil. Brea Ethereum Shaper, it goes up $3.82 to $14.37 this week. A couple cards from the new set have got people interested in this one. Tezzeret Master of the Bridge, which of course is the Buy a Box promo, and Saheeli Sublime Artificer. Vampiric Tutor from Ultimate Masters going up $6.51 to $74.95. This card has been red hot recently. The original Mana Crypt from the book Send Away, it goes up $57.89 this week to $299.99. Awesome in Vintage, awesome in Commander. These Mana Crypts have been on fire. Okay, before we go, I do have one card to spotlight that's a foil card. I say this every week, but I don't like to go too deep into foils because they can be misleading. Sometimes there's not enough listings online. They can be easily manipulated. But I like to point out at least one that's doing something interesting. This week it's Tezzeret's Gambit from New Phyrexia, the foil going up $11.83 to $13.49. Now, all these cards that are Proliferate cards from the past are definitely worth watching, especially the foils. And that concludes the Market Watch for today. As always, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.